So this is the guidelines on the I Love Blank Movies essay. Basically, you're going to choose a movie genre that you really like. A genre is like a category. So like, think of the different categories on Netflix. Those are basically genres. So, for instance, I like classic slasher movies, 90s action movies, superhero movies, etc. So that would be the basic, sort of basic genres. Avoid mixing up genre with franchise. Like, I like Star Wars movies, but that's a franchise, not a genre. Star Wars is actually in the space adventure genre or the sci-fi genre or the fantasy genre, depending on how you want to categorize it. So just make sure that you don't, make that mistake. Once you've chosen your genre, describe the conventions of the genre. In other words, what do all the movies in this genre have in common that make them all part of that same genre? Okay. For each convention that you describe, give an example of a movie that uses this convention really well. Okay. Describe how the movie uses that convention and explain how that usage is done well. And then I want you to discuss also, which of these conventions can be broken? Have there been really good movies that break these conventions in interesting ways? These are questions that I also want you to answer. So, you're going to start with explaining the genre, and then an example of a movie from that genre that uses all of those conventions, and then talking about ways in which you can play with those conventions or even break them to a certain extent and still have it be within that genre. So, and then, use examples of movies that have broken those genres in interesting genre conventions in interesting ways. So, you want to have a bunch of different examples, not just the one. In the introduction, I want you to talk about why you like the genre. So just start with I really love blank. I love blank movies, and then tell me why you like it. I like classic slasher movies because they are sort of playing on our sort of natural fears of the unknown, and in a way that feels safe, that I'm not too scared, but it can be fun too, so it's not, I feel like they're better than other kinds of horror movies because I don't actually want to be scared, really. I kind of want to just and plus they're morality tales. Who doesn't love a good morality tale? So give an explanation of why you like the genre. What do you like about it? What are your favorites? I love, Nightmare on Elm Street and Halloween, and those are my two favorite franchises. The first of which is always the best. Just give some information about your connection with the genre, and then get into the claim of what are the core components of this genre. Then in your evidence you want at least 5 movie examples that illustrate the conventions in action. So you can say for example, this is a convention that's used in horror movies, and here's the horror movie, here's an example of it being used in this horror movie, and then you go on to the next one. You can also have examples within, where you're talking about conventions that are, the movie that uses the conventions well, and the good movies that break the conventions. but yeah, you want to at least have 5 different movies that you're talking about throughout the paper that illustrate the conventions in action. In the organization, I want you to think about importance. So you could do most to least important or least to most important. Your audience is people wanting to learn more about the genre, you know. Language should be slightly informal, try to have clarity, but add lots of personality. If you use slang, explain it. We're old people. So, and then the conclusion, what makes up the essence of this genre and why do you love that essence so much? The main idea behind this essay is to identify patterns within certain kinds of movies and to illustrate those patterns using examples. In order to identify the pattern, you must think about movies in a comparative way. You have to compare them and look at what shows up in multiple ones. So, you know, noting their similarities, noting what's the same about them. By identifying movies that break the convention while still remaining in the genre, you have to think about movies in a contrasting way, noting their differences, thinking about how far you can go before you're in a completely different genre. Like, how many genre conventions can you actually break while still remaining in that genre? And, you know, in what ways can you break them? So then you're, you know, contrasting. If you really want to impress, you will go further, noting how the use of conventions can be a shorthand that eliminates the need for explanation, and how breaking conventions can be a way to surprise viewers and make them really think and pay attention. That's if you really want to impress. Like, you can go into that and talk about that in terms of the genre that you choose. So, choose whatever genre you're interested in. I don't choose what genre you think I will like or that the committee will like. Choose a genre that you like. They don't have to like the same genre. You know, there are lots of genres that I don't like. It doesn't matter if you choose one of those. The idea is not to, like, get me to, you know, it is not to address an audience who loves the same movies. It's maybe even to address people who don't like those kinds of movies and explain to them, like, what makes these movies interesting and good, you know? So that's the kind of thing that I want you to be thinking about as you do this paper, is thinking about, like, what is it that makes a movie a blank movie, and what makes that interesting or good, okay? And trying to tell people who don't normally watch those kinds of movies about why it's interesting and good, okay? So that's kind of your audience there. So yeah. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm available by email, and I also am in my office hours from noon to 1:30 on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I am in the library on Mondays and Wednesdays, and then on Fridays I'm in the Success Center. You're welcome to come see me during those times, and I will drop everything just to talk to you. So please don't hesitate to stop by and ask any questions that you need to ask, or to email me. I'm happy to answer you guys' questions. This is our last essay, so you guys have been doing really great. If you've been turning in all of those essays, I think this has been a really, really great class, and a really great, especially for being an online class. I think you guys have been really supportive of each other, and that I feel like I've grown to know you a little bit, which is tough for an online class. But, you know, you guys have been doing great. You're rock stars. I love you. And so this is going to be our last essay. After that, we'll move on to the cover letter, and then be thinking about which essays you want to include in your portfolio. Okay? So that's where we are for now, and let me know if you have any questions. I'll talk to you later. Bye.